I love speaking with young entrepreneurs that want to take this business and do something significant with their lives, right? Young, ambitious go-getters. And Jameson Farrington is no exception. I got to know him on a call at the end of 2023, and I'm like, man, here's this young go-getter, right? He's from Carmel, one of my favorite towns in the United States. And his big picture is to buy a nice big plot of land where he and his brother can build houses and share in their lives together. I'm like, just try to get as close to the ocean as you can. Try to get as close to Pebble Beach as you can and maybe save a little slice of heaven there for me. And maybe I'll build a place up there with you guys. But, he's a new dad. And so, the topic of work-life balance came up. Like, gee, how do you succeed as an entrepreneur? And of course, you don't want to compromise being a father. You don't want to be absent, with Junior in the house. So how do you really win on all fronts? And so, I don't think I've ever referenced this book, right? So here's a book called Life Matters, written by Roger and Rebecca Merrill. And so I stumbled across this book. This isn't like a bestseller. It's not like I'm willing to bet most of you have never even heard of this book. And so I went to the Franklin Covey store every year before I went digital in my planning. I'd always go to the Franklin Covey store, buy the latest inserts, more than likely buy myself a new planner as well too, a nice leather-bound planner. I'd always do that stuff. I spent hundreds of dollars, every year at the Franklin Covey store. And I came across that book and I'm like, life matters, work-life balance, right? So I'm curious, let me dive into this book. And so the book starts off really addressing that this work-life balance is kind of a new thing. Right? If you think about it, a couple hundred years ago, right? If my great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather met up with your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather at the local tavern, right? So just picture again, a couple hundred years ago, do you think that these two gentlemen would meet up at the tavern and be like, oh, gee, Bob, I'm really struggling with work-life balance? Like, that conversation never happened. It's only happening today. Now, why didn't it happen, a few generations ago, even like 2 or 3 generations ago, it didn't happen? Well, listen, as you're raising a family, right? I mean, think of these farmers, right? You're having children. I mean, your children potentially are being schooled at home, or the school isn't far away. So there's certainly proximity happening. And the young boys are, going with dad into the field and farming at a very young age. The young girls are learning how to do domestic things like baking and cooking and things inside the house. And so the family always worked together. They played together. Everything was together. It didn't matter whether they're working, playing, learning. It's all happening as a family unit. It's only become a challenge for us while I live here and I've got this long commute. So the book says it's almost like we live double lives. Like, you're one person at home and then you have to travel major distance to get to work, and you're a totally different person, and then you got to travel all the way back home. So of course there's work-life balance challenges when you have to separate your life like that. And so really there were 2 big takeaways that came from the book that I want to address on today's call. So the first lesson that I pulled from that book was look for double or triple wins, right? Like, don't try to separate your life so much. Can you blend events together? Can I wear multiple hats at the same time and win on multiple fronts? So I'll give you an example. I call this my triple win. This is when I feel like a total rock star, right? So, I'll take my family and a bunch of coworkers to a baseball game. Well, first of all, I love watching baseball. I love a great competitive game. So there's a win. I'm certainly entertained. And I always get a whole bunch of, seats together. And I always like to kind of be at the highest seat, if you will, so I can, see everybody in front of me, so people can turn around and talk to me, but I can see everybody. I don't want, people behind me and having to turn around. I want to kind of see it all. And so there's my son engaging with people from my work. And so, hey, I'm winning as a father. I'm winning as a business person. I'm winning in the entertainment field where I get to watch a great baseball game. And I'm just like, sometimes I'll just kind of sit back and I'm like, man, I'm a rock star. right? Like I'm not failing on any front right now. I'm winning on multiple fronts. So look for multiple wins. Look for a double win. Look for a triple win. You could be doing a team night. And so bring your girlfriend, bring your boyfriend. I mean, have people engage in your business. Make it a family business instead of separating things. I've had people bring their parents to team nights and things like that. Like, why not blend as many things as you can with your work and your play? To that point, double, triple wins. I want to read something to you. Sometimes when I come across a great quote, I laminate it. Nerdy thing that I do, but I want to read this to you. It's called The Art of Living, author anonymous. But when I came across this, I'm like, dude, this is so money. The Art of Living. The master in the art of living makes little distinction between his work and his play, his labor and his leisure, his mind and his body, his education and his recreation, his love and his religion. He hardly knows which is which. He simply pursues his vision of excellence at whatever he does, leaving others to decide whether he is working or playing. To him, he is always doing both. The master in the art of living. My second point is, instead of pursuing balance, a lot of people ask that question, like, well, how do you pursue balance? I look at life in terms of seasons. There's seasons that come at us, and different seasons require us to show up differently, right? So when I first joined the business, I looked at the field like, well, the field is a season. It's not like I'm looking for work-life balance as a field rep, because the field's going to come to an end. This is just a season in my life. And why not go all in this season? Why not go hardcore in this season? Maybe speed it along a little quicker rather than, stretching this out as long as humanly possible and trying to seek work-life balance. No, it's just a season, so go all in. Don't be afraid to go all in certain seasons. When I started a solar business, I remember talking to my wife. I'm like, listen, this is going to require me going like crazy all in. I'm going to be in the field a lot. I'm going to be working long hours. The good news is it's just a season. This isn't the next 20 years of my life. So let's go all in certain seasons. Even in my personal life, right, I coach flag football. And so I have to prepare for what this is going to look like, because I get pretty obsessed. I want to win. I want to develop the kids. I mean, this is important to me, but it's just a season. It's just 7-8 weeks of going hardcore between balancing my work, my family, my flag football, my church. I mean, everything. Look at life in terms of seasons. And again, don't be afraid to go hardcore, go all in. So that's what I pulled really from this book. Highly recommend this book, Life Matters, Pursuing Work-Life Balance.